Okay, everybody, so here we are. We're continuing to open the X-Men's Xavier School set. Now, I opened like a bunch of little packs before, like I said, and you know what? They're here. They're all here, all opened. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull, take pieces out, talk about them, and move on, because I know we got some duplicates here, and if you want to read about those, just watch like one of the later videos. But here, I'm going to grab this one, boom, and here we go. So, WizKids does a great job packing these. They really do. I know you really get that crinkly plastic sound because I'm almost holding it right next to the microphone. So I'll try to do it a little more away from the mic. Some of these sculpts are very dynamic, and when you have these dynamic sculpts, they're almost guaranteed to maybe come out a little odd, like in Kid Gladiator here. He has laser eye beams, but they're kind of like going down like a waterfall. He is a unhappy Kid Gladiator. That's just right out of the box. It tends to happen. The best thing to do if you see stuff like that is if you have a blow dryer, just put it on a low heat setting and just set it like about this far apart, and it'll warm up, and then you can put it however you want to, and then you're going to want to cool it down. So you push the cool button on the hair dryer, and then it'll stay exactly the way you need it to. That's a little trick I learned from a couple HeroClix veterans. But he is our super rare Kid Gladiator. We have one uncommon, and then we have 3 commons. Okay. So we got Cyclops, we got Anole, we got Mystique, and we got Jean Grey and Kid Gladiator. So we already covered Jean Grey before, so we'll put her aside for now. However, these 4 are new. So, Mystique. Love Mystique. Everybody loves Mystique. I think Jennifer Lawrence just knocked that role out of the park. But, you know, the other actress who played her, which you're going to hate me because I don't remember her name, Rebecca Romaine Stamos. Ha! I think she dropped a Stamos, though. But Rebecca Romaine, she was fantastic, too. Gorgeous woman. But I think Jennifer Lawrence just really nailed that role. So this is a younger Mystique, and she's like, you know, she's posing as a student, but the thing is with Mystique, you don't know how old she is really. Like, she grew up with Xavier and Magneto, but she does not age like they do, and it's part of her genetic mutation. So she has the X-student trait, get a 5, modify defense by 1 on an opponent. But she has a damage power for all of 5 of her clicks. Posing as a student, it's shape change. But if Mystique is adjacent to an opposing character, she can't be attacked by non-adjacent characters. So she goes up adjacent to an opposing character, and now the other opposing characters, they can't do range attacks against her because they think that she's a student. But once they get up close, they realize that she's not. That's a cool way to do that shape-changing ability that she can do. So next we got old Cyclops. So Cyclops is somebody a lot of people love to hate because he can kind of be a jerk. But you know what? The actor who did the voice for Cyclops, he passed away just recently as well. So in honor for you, good sir, who you did the voice for Cyclops, this one's for you. Sorry that I don't know your name. We're going to find that out in a second. Maybe edit the part out that I don't know your name. But until then, we're just going to keep rolling. So, Cyclops. This is the leader of the X-Men. This is the X-Men First Class, like the first real team of the X-Men. He has all new X-Men and X-Men. Both those keywords. And now he has X-Men First Class trait. If this character makes the first attack during a turn and hits friendly characters with the X-Men key, I'm reading it too fast. If this character makes the first attack during a turn and hits friendly characters with the X-Men keyword, modified damage +1 this turn. Norman Spencer. Okay. So Norman Spencer, thank you for doing the voice of X-Men, our favorite X-Men, Cyclops, in the animated series, that X-Men animated series. Everybody that watched cartoons, they grew up watching it, and Cyclops was fantastic in that show. He was definitely not a jerk in that show, but in comics, they kind of portray him more of a jerk. So he gets a bad rap, but he's a good guy, and he means well, and he just wants his fellow mutants to have peace. So he has Penetrating Psychic Blast. When Cyclops uses it, you can modify either his attack or damage +1. So you can give him a 3 damage or you can give him 11 attack. And then if he rolls that X-Men First Class, he can increase his damage up by 1 again. So all it depends on how you roll and how you play him. But he's 50 points, he's 5 clicks. You get a lot for that point value. I would have loved to see Force Blast on that top dial as well, but he gets it later. Force Blast knocks characters back, and that's what he's known for. He has the optic beams to knock characters back. But for 50 points, not complaining. Good figure. And then we have Anole, who he's in New Mutants #2, which came out in 2003. And Anole, he has this ability, he has this reptilian regeneration and almost like this adaptability thing. So this is what he does. He has the X-Men trait, but he also has the defense power called reptilian regeneration. He has it for his last 3 clicks. So it gives him regeneration, and when Anole uses it and heals 2 or more clicks, you give him a transformation token. And then you modify his combat values +1 for each transformation token. That's fantastic. But the problem is you want him to take damage at that point. So characters that benefit from taking damage, they kind of fit somewhere in the middle with me. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. Anole, he is 30 points and he's 5 clicks. So for that, he is really good for a common. And he can increase his values up if he takes damage and he heals at least 2 or more health. So that's great. I love that. Good figure. And next we have Kid Gladiator. A lot of people were talking if you pull Kid Gladiator during Sealed, you'll win the whole thing. He's not that good, but he is good. So he has the X-Student trait. Roll a 5, modify target's defense -1. But then he has this other trait called All Glory for Your Imperial Overlord. Wow, that is really arrogant. But he kind of feeds off of that. So when Kid Gladiator KOs an opposing character, you modify his combat values by +1 until another friendly character KOs an opposing character. So it's like an egotistical thing. You want him to clean up and knock out a figure because then he's sitting on some really high values. Like on top dial, if he finishes off a figure, he's going to have a 13 movement, a 12 attack, an 18 defense, and a 5 damage with hypersonic. In this game, there's going to be a lot of players that reach for characters that have hypersonic speed and just use those characters primarily. That's fine. It's not the only strategy out there, but normally in this game, people want to end it quickly. So they want hypersonic, they want running shot, they want high range characters so they can hit your figure and run away, hit your figure for a lot of damage, run away. And unfortunately, that kind of puts people in creative boxes. And it's not the way I play. But some people, that's the way they play, and if that's how you do it, continue on doing it. And Kid Gladiator is perfect for you if you're just trying to end games quickly. But if you're trying for a more strategic build, he may not be somebody you reach for. but his defense power is impervious. Kid Gladiator has protected outwit, but only from opposing characters of less points. So he just benefits of preying on the weak. And that's what Kid Gladiator is kind of known for. So put him aside here. Great pull, great figure. Not my favorite because I don't really play that way, but very powerful. So next, boom, here we go. All right, we got a few repeats, so that makes it easier. Sorry, I'm gonna try to do that away from the microphone so it doesn't catch all the crap.
Some people like the crinkling.
True. We pulled one of my favorite Wolverines again. Oh, love it. I could just talk about that Wolverine like for the whole video, but here we go. Okay, so we have 3 commons, an uncommon, and a super rare. Open up the cards. This is great. This is such a good set. I love the pieces in this set. So much fun. Wow, they like super glued this one. I don't want to damage the cards. There we go. Sometimes the glue is on point, man. Sometimes their taping skills are on point, whiz kids. Okay, so we already pulled this Cyclops. We'll put him aside. We already pulled this Hellion. Put him aside too. And then we're going to feature Wolverine and Cyclops here. They're kind of taking up a lot of space, some of these people. So I want to highlight mostly like our really good pulls. So put some of these over here. All right, so Cyclops, Hellion, put you aside. And then we have Skids, Cyclops, and Wolverine. Now I know I said we had Cyclops, but we haven't pulled the uncommon Cyclops, part of the X Factor. So here we got Skids, common. Skids is part of the X Factor too, like the original X Factor. And she's 40 points, 5 clicks. And what she brings to the table is a special defense power, barrier, and defend. At the beginning of your turn, Skids may knock back an adjacent opposing character 1 square. People sleep on that, but that's actually kind of useful. So Skids, if Skids like has somebody adjacent to her, now she already can ignore characters for movement purposes because that's part of her ability, but she can knock characters back that kind of get up close to her, that are in her face, and that's always useful, especially characters that are trying to knock you out quickly. She can create barriers. It's a really nice support piece, but she doesn't deal a lot of damage, but useful in a support tactic. So next we have is Cyclops, the uncommon. So he's part of the X Factor, and what he brings to the table is the X Factor trait, a +1 to damage for every 5 in the attack roll, and then just a 6-click dial with 11 attack, 3 damage starting off, penetrating psychic blast, 7 range, and he ignores hindering terrain for targeting purposes. So if you have stealth, not for Cyclops, Cyclops will ignore your stealth because he can see through that hindering terrain. And he's only 60 points, so I love that. I love that. Those low point figures who can do some damage, very, very good. And then we have Wolverine. I'm going to tell you what makes a good figure is all the free stuff that it can do. And I'm going to number all the free things that it can do before I even read stuff. So, Headmaster trait, he's got leadership for free. He's got perplex for free, and it allows you to bring in a student ID card without paying its cost. So that's 3 things for free already. Normally you have to pay 3 points to bring in this, but if you play Wolverine, you can bring a student ID card with you for free. So that's 3 free things right there. Next, stay away from my students. Make a close attack for free, but only to attack a target that did damage to an X-Men friendly character since the last turn. So that's 4 things free. Next, it has another trait, sidestep. That is a 5th thing it can do for free. And then it gets Then he gets flurry if he's closer to your opponent's starting line. That's 6 things this character can do for free already. And then otherwise it has combat reflexes if it's closer to your starting line. So that's an additional thing it can do for free. So this character can do like 7 things for free. He also has charge and blades. And he has stop clicks, which are free also technically. So, and regeneration. That's not free. That's part of his defense when he's on the stop click. But this character, oh man, he's high points, 150 points, but he ignores hindering terrain, which is technically another free thing. So that's 8 free things that this character can do before you even look on its dial. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. He's also indomitable, so that gives him willpower for free. So it's like 9 different things that this character can do for free. 8 or 9, if you're counting. And then he has the X-Men team ability, which allows you to heal characters. That's another free thing. It costs a power action, but it's something that he has that's not like in his dial. That's what I mean by free. So he has at least 10 different things that this character can do for free that are not even on its dial. This is such a fantastic Wolverine, everybody. This is like, they really made one of the best Wolverines ever with this. I know the new Wolverine in Fantastic Four is great, but this is just a great Wolverine. Love that character. Love it. Headmaster, stay away from my students, a different kind of professor, and he has stop clicks. 150 points if you play him at full, which gives him 7 clicks, but those stop clicks really add to that value. And then if you play him at 50, he's got 3 clicks, but he still has all the same free stuff. So imagine a 50-point figure with like 10 things it can do for free. Yes, please, absolutely. Thank you. Wonderful figure. Okay. And here we go. We're moving on. More figures. More free stuff. WizKids is on it with that tape, everybody. Man, WizKids. Who is your tape distributor? Sorry. You open enough of these after a while, you don't even want to form sentences. But man, we have some great pulls. Great pulls, everybody. Kitty Pryde. After a while, you just kind of start saying weird stuff when you talk to yourself, which is normally not what I like to do. So we already pulled Skids. Put Skids to the side. But we did have, and we already pulled Mystique, so we'll pull Mystique to the side too. But we had two commons, 2 uncommons, and a rare. Okay. So we have Kitty Pryde, Oya, and Fat. I'm not making fun of his weight, everybody. That's literally his name, but it's spelled P-H-A-T. So, like, cool, that's fat, even though people don't say that anymore. But back then when this comic came out, people were still saying that. So, let's do Oya. All right, so we got Oya. Ex-student. You roll a 5, -1 to the defense on the opponent. And then Oya has heat transfer for all of her clicks. And she has 5 clicks. Heat transfer. When Oya hits 2 characters with a range attack, because she can target 2 characters, she has the 2 lightning bolts. After resolutions, deal 1 penetrating damage to one and give the other an action token. So like one takes the penetrating damage, the other one gets the token. One gets the heat, the other gets the cold. That's good. And next, Kitty Pryde. So Kitty Pryde is an uncommon in this set, but she is a headmaster for the all-new X-Men. She brings leadership. She brings perplex for all friendly characters with the all-new X-Men keyword or X-Men keyword. And she allows you to bring in a student ID card without paying its cost. Ooh, that's really good. And she has her phasing ability. She's 5 clicks, and she has a really cool phasing ability for the first 3 clicks. So it's called Quick Through Here. So she can do phasing teleport, allows her to ignore the terrain, but she also has stealth. And friendly characters can move through walls adjacent to Kitty Pryde. So if Kitty Pryde is next to a wall, she can make that wall temporarily like not be there, like they're phasing through it. And in her sculpt, she has like, these are supposed to be like bullets, I think, that are going through her. That's really cool, the bullets. I haven't seen that type of sculpt with Kitty Pryde before. So that's a cool way to do her special phasing. Kitty Pryde gets a lot of love nowadays, and that's okay. She is a good leader in her own right. Excellent leader. All right, and lastly, we have Phat. P-H-A-T, Phat. So Phat has a couple of traits, but the important thing is he's part of the X-Statics. He has the X-Force keyword as well, and he's been like a member of the X-Force, but he's known for his time in the X-Statics, which is like this other X team who they released some comics that were really like different and peculiar, and they were like almost like these reality stars, and then they all died. Like they all got in this big explosion and they all died. And I think the only one left was the little green blob character. And I can't remember his name right now. And he was the only one that made it. And he like still kind of did a few antics here and there. He had a battle with Thor, but that's not this guy. This is Phat. So he has a headlines trait. When Phat hits one or more opposing characters, you give him a headline token. And that'll come in later with his next trait. So at the beginning of your turn, you roll a d6. You may roll, so when you roll the d6, there's different things that'll happen. If you roll a 1, it's opponent's choice of results. But if you roll a 2, it's speed. If you roll a 3, it's attack. If you roll a 4, it's defense. If you roll a 5, it's damage. And if you roll a 6, then you get to choose. And what it does is Phat modifies the resulting combat value by -1, and the rest of his combat values are +1 until your next turn. So your opponent chooses one of your combat values if you get a 1, and that value will be -1, but the other ones will be +1. Now, the other ones depend on what you roll, but if you roll a 6, then you get to choose. So you can choose one of his combat values. That'll go down by 1, but the rest will increase by 1. Very useful, very tactical type of thing. It's a little bit up to chance, but you get to choose if you do it or not. It says you may roll a d6 at the beginning of a turn. So if you want to do it, cool. If you don't, you don't have to. And then he has an attack power for all his dial for 6 clicks. Giant Reach 2. But as a free action, you can remove headline tokens, and then if you do, you can increase his Giant Reach by each headline token you take off +2. So he has Giant Reach 2, and if you take off headline tokens, then you can increase that Giant Reach. So Giant Reach will allow him to attack a character with a close attack X squares away. So if he has a Giant Reach of 5, he can attack a character 5 squares away. So if you start him like right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, he can attack a character all the way over here. That's really useful. And I promise I can find something useful about all of these figures, okay? There's always something useful. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to highlight our super rares, give them a lot of love in our rares. Nothing against you commons and uncommons. I have a heart for all of you, but we need to make space. So we're gonna slide them over. Slide them over out of frame. Keep the ID card because that's really cool. And we're gonna keep T'Challa because, you know, Wakanda forever. So, here we go. For those of you who love the AMSR videos or whatever that is, you love those sound effects, I'm giving you some sound effects. So if you just close your eyes, you can just like listen to the crinkling of the plastic. And I'm telling you, when you do these alone, you gotta like come up with stuff to keep yourself entertained, because if not, like, you will go mad. You will go insane. All right. Okay, here we go, here we go. So we haven't pulled any of these yet, and we got one chase in this one, so that's great. That's great. So we have a big, discombobulation here. So I'm moving our super rares over here. Fat, we pulled you. Sprite, we pulled you. And here we are left with everyone else. So we have Marvel Girl. We have Magic as our rare, and we got Dark Beast as our chase. Love me some Dark Beast. 2 commons, an uncommon, rare, and a chase. Very nice. So, Marvel Girl. Marvel Girl, she is part of the all-new X-Men First Class trait. If this character makes the first attack during a turn and hits friendly characters with the X-Men keyword, modify range +1 this turn. Ooh, that is really good. Love that. And she has telekinesis for her first 3 clicks. She has a great telekinesis. It's very offensive. It's called Strongest Mind. Telekinesis. When Marvel Girl uses it to make an object attack, either modify her attack or increase her damage by +1. So you can modify attack +1 or damage +1. That is great, because when you use telekinesis and you use an object, if it's a heavy object, it deals 3 damage. Her telekinesis can make that damage 4 damage instead, and that could be deadly to a character that's not expecting it. Or you can modify your attack +1 during that, so you can make sure they get hit with that object. But this is like the object tossing Marvel Girl, who, if you don't know, is actually Jean Grey. Before she just like dropped Marvel Girl and just went by Jean Grey, she was known as Marvel Girl, and she's pretty much did the same things that she does now, except less Phoenix Force, making her go crazy. So here we have a generic X student. You can play the generic X student at several different type of clicks, but he only has 2 clicks. But he's very versatile. So this is what it is. He has the X student trait. You roll the 5, target -1 to their defense. But he has the School for Gifted Youngsters trait. So during force construction, if you use it at the 15-point value, you may not include more than 4 X student at that cost. So you can play 4 of them at 15 points, and you get those 2 clicks. But when you do, your opponent chooses what starting line they have, and they have a various different starting line. Or do I have to turn the card this way? Which is better? This is good? Okay. So try to get it there the best I can. I'm sorry if there's a little glare, everybody. We're still working on the lighting and stuff, but we'll get there. But there's different dials. You can start on click 1, click 4, click 7, or click 10. And they're all 2 clicks, but they bring different powers. So if you start on click 1, it has sidestep and support. If you start on click 4, it has force blast and telekinesis. If you start on click 7, it has mind control and super senses. And if you start on click 10, it has plasticity and poison. So depending on what you want, it'll bring different things. Now what I like to do is I like to play 4 of them, and I play them all at 15 points, because your opponent chooses different dials for them, and that means that you're going to get all 4 starting lines. So for 60 points, you get 4 of these guys, and they all bring different powers, and that's how I like to do it. Or you can play them at 25 points, and then you get to choose what you start them at. So it depends on how you want to do it. I like to play them at 15 and play a bunch of them. It just keeps your opponent like on their toes, and sometimes they can be a little annoying tie-up pieces. So really enjoy that piece. I love the generics. I know Tony enjoys them too. He just can't talk right now due to throat damage, but I know he likes them too. Now we have Iceman. So this is the uncommon Iceman. We pulled the common one before. This one is the X-Men First Class Iceman. So he has the X-Men First Class trait, and if he attacks first and hits, friendly characters with the X-Men keyword modify defense +1. So depending on who you want to attack first, they all bring different stuff. I believe if it's Cyclops, then I think it's damage or something. Let me look at it really quick. I like to make sure I'm correct with my quotes here. Yeah, with Cyclops, it's damage +1. With Jean Grey, it's range +1. With Iceman, it's defense +1. So depending on who you have attacking first, it'll do something different. 50 points, and then he has Incapacitate. And when Iceman uses it, you either modify his attack +1, or after resolutions, the hit target gains immobile until your next turn. That means it can't move. So he really will freeze that character in place. That character will be frozen where it's at, and if you choose that when you're using his attack ability. So that's fun. That's fun. Fun Iceman piece there. Enjoy that. Sorry, I got all these people together here, trying to make it somewhat good. Okay, next we have Magic. Now, coming soon, by the time you watch this video, I'm sure the movie will be out already, but you have Magic appearing in the New Mutants movie. This is that same character, Alanya Rasputin. Now, Alanya is the sister of Colossus. So they work together, but their powers are very different. Magic has mystical abilities, and she can travel through limbo, and she can summon the Soul Sword. But let's see what she can do in HeroClix. So she has the New Mutants trait. I haven't seen that trait yet. We haven't pulled a New Mutant with that trait, so that's good. At the beginning of your turn, if this character is adjacent to a friendly character with a New Mutants keyword, you may heal this character 1 click. Ooh, good. If you do, friendly characters can't make attacks this turn. Okay, so it's kind of a last resort thing. If you back up and you're trying not to do damage, you can put her adjacent to a New Mutant, and if it's the beginning of the turn, you can heal that character 1 click. That's good. But then you can't make attacks that turn. So you got to pick and choose. Are you going to heal people up and not attack this turn, or are you going to just be offensive? Now, Magic is 75 points. And another trait here is what I could become. Ooh, interesting. When Magic would be KO'd, roll a d6 and add the number of corrupted tokens. If the result is 8 or more, you can replace her with Magic number 58 on click number 5. I don't know if we've pulled that. I haven't seen it. I haven't looked very thoroughly. I don't think we did. But she can bring out her. She can bring out the other side of her, the Dark Child Magic, who is more demonic looking. We might see that in the New Mutants movie, so that could be really cool. She has phasing teleport. She can carry 3 characters, and when she carries, you give her a corrupted token. So that's one way to gain corrupted tokens. She's a little bit of a taxi. And then she has the Soul Sword, and she has that for her first 3 clicks. She's only 5 clicks or 75 points, but you want to take advantage of her ability to transform into the Dark Child Magic, the demonic one. Her Soul Sword attack power. When Magic uses it and damages an opposing character, give her a corrupted token. So she can get corrupted tokens by carrying characters and by attacking. Using the Soul Sword. Very cool. I'm glad we pulled Magic, at least for the continuity's sake, at least for completing our X-Men and X-Factor and New Mutants teams. So here we have Dark Beast. Man, I really enjoy Dark Beast. I don't know a lot about his lore and stuff. I know they've tried to redo Dark Beast recently with some Doctor Strange training and learning mystical powers. But you can read about that in X-Men Blue, like one of the newer, like I think X-Men Blue #1 or 2. But Dark Beast here, this is the original Hank McCoy, X Factor #1, 1995, and he is vicious from the Age of Apocalypse. So he has the Age of Apocalypse keyword, Dark X-Men keyword, Exiles keyword, Morlocks keyword, Scientist. This is a good fig. So he has a trait called Hiding in Its Reality. It gives him stealth, and during your force construction, Dark Beast gains the X-Men keyword if at least 2 other characters on that force have it. Not bad. Not bad at all. Savior of the Age of Apocalypse. For now. So this is a trait that's shared with a lot of Age of Apocalypse figures. At least in this set, all of them have this trait. When Dark Beast is damaged by an opposing character, give that character a revenge token. When Dark Beast attacks a character with 1 or more tokens named Revenge, modify attack and damage +1. When Dark Beast is KO'd, you may choose an opposing character with a token named Revenge and remove all of those tokens and roll that many d6s. For each 5 and 6, deal that character 1 penetrating damage. So if there's a character with a lot of revenge tokens, because let's say Dark Beast is just landing. No, I'm sorry, when Dark Beast is attacked. So he can be attacking, but the opposing characters gain revenge tokens when Dark Beast takes damage. The more damage Dark Beast takes, the more revenge tokens your opposing characters will get. And then when they finally do knock out Dark Beast, then they have a chance of taking a lot of penetrating damage if you get a 5 or 6 several times. So you can roll several d6s, and if you get 5 or 6s, your opposing characters will take a lot of damage, hopefully. So that's awesome. And his attack and damage go up every time he attacks somebody with revenge tokens. So that's good too. So I love it. We pulled our first chase. We're going to put him here with the other cool pulls that we got. And then all of you generic folks, we're going to put you over here. Not because we don't love you, but because, Magic is a rare as well. So Magic will get some special treatment, but not the other people. Alrighty, so next we're going to open, these are already open, and we're just going to keep going. We got this really cool set. We got this another booster pack here. We pulled some stuff we already had, which is great. And some stuff that we don't have, which is great. I'm looking at you, Darwin. So glad they finally made a Darwin. Darwin is like an Omega level mutant. And he was not really clixed yet. They didn't make a click for him yet, but now they did. And this is a really good Darwin too. He shuts down characters that can pick powers, but we will talk about him in a minute. So we have a rare, an uncommon, common. Nice little distribution pull. So we got Marvel Girl, who we already pulled earlier. So put you over here, Marvel Girl. And the rest are new. Oh, and Anole. Come on, people watching. You got to keep up with me. Let me know if I already pulled this figure. I'm kidding. All right, so we have Artie. Artie is a member of Generation X, Morlocks, New Mutants, and X Factor teams. Artie doesn't really bring a lot to the table, but he's a nice little support piece, and he's an annoyance piece is what he is. I actually like Artie. I don't play him like really seriously like in games, but I like him because he's a tiny size figure, so you can carry him around, and he has the ability to use mind control. He's got a 9 attack, so he only does 1 damage, so he's not going to hit anybody, but what he's going to do is he can mind control opposing character that's not expecting it, and make him fight or her fight another opposing character. See, that is very useful, and it's only 25 points. So if you're getting into the game and you want to experiment using different powers, definitely reach for this figure. It's not bad. Right? It's not the worst figure. I like it. Okay, so next we have Karma. Karma is a member of the New Mutants. She has the New Mutants trait, the healing ability. If you're adjacent to a New Mutant character, she can heal, but then you can't do any, you can't do any attacks that turn. But if you have a bunch of New Mutants, they can all heal at the beginning of the turn if they're all next to each other, but they just can't attack that turn. They can still move, though. They can still move around. They can still use their free actions, their perplexes, increase their defense, get in like a good positioning, but they just can't attack if you choose to do the healing that way. She has mind control all the way through her dial and shape change. And she can target 3 characters. Ooh, I like that. I love that. A triple target mind control. See, back in the older rules, if you use mind control to target characters over a certain point value, you took feedback damage. You would take unavoidable damage. They got away with that. So now mind control is like, you can run rampant. You can target like a 300-point character with mind control and you take no feedback damage. It's really good. And next we have Darwin, Armando Munoz. So this character was featured in the movie X-Men First Class. He was a guy who was like a taxi driver, and he could adapt to certain situations. If he put his head in water, he grew gills. If he got hit with like a chair, like right before he would get hit, he would grow like powerful scales that would absorb the damage. His ability is adapting, and that's what made him so powerful. He could almost not be killed. Unfortunately, he is killed in that movie, which I think is not accurate really at all, but I didn't make the movie, and they had to kill off somebody, so they killed off the most powerful one. So be it. But in comics, Darwin really brings a lot to the table. So, X-Student. He's X-Factor and X-Men, so you can play him on either one of those teams. He has the X-Student trait. You roll a 5, -1 to your opponent's defense. And then he has these 3 things that he can do, which are magnificent. I love them. So first one, instant adaptation. When Darwin is targeted with an attack, you choose the standard defense power. Darwin can use the chosen power for this attack. So if you're getting hit by somebody and they're going to hit you really hard, you just choose invincible, and the max of damage you'll take is 3. If you're going to hit somebody who is going to try to do multiple attacks on you, super senses. Dodge those attacks before you even take damage. If you're going to get hit with somebody who is going to only deal 2 damage, choose invulnerability, and then you won't take any damage at all. If they're going to deal penetrating damage, you choose invincible. If they're going to deal damage with a high attack, you choose energy shield deflection or combat reflexes. There's a lot of different things you can do, and I really love that. So he's always adapting. Definitely plays off of that. But the next trait, this one I love it. I can adapt so much faster than you. When another character uses an effect that allows it to choose 1 or more standard powers, after resolutions, deal that character 1 unavoidable damage. So Amazo, you're choosing powers. Darwin, he says, you're going to take 1 unavoidable damage for doing that. Unimind, you're going to choose powers, Unimind? No. Well, you can still choose the power, but now you're going to take an unavoidable damage after that. Pick a power is what they call it. That has become so common. It's run rampant. Like everybody is choosing powers for their characters. They love characters that can choose powers, because it's a lot of versatility. Well, he shuts a lot of that down. He doesn't make it so they can't choose the power. Instead, he makes them take damage because of it. That's very useful. He's only 35 points, so I really love that about Darwin. And then he has 4 stop clicks. Nope, I'm sorry, I lied. He has 2 stop clicks at the end of his dial, and it has regeneration on top of that. So if you're on a stop click and you want to heal up, you can roll regen. Unfortunately, if you have a stop click and you use regen, it's a -1 to your heal because it balances it out because stop clicks are really powerful. But it's still really useful. So I'm so glad we pulled this Darwin. He's not in rotation anymore, but in casual play, he's good. A lot of fun. Thank you, Darwin. Okay. So we got some more figures. We got figures that we haven't pulled yet, and some that we have. We have Sync and Hellion. And then we have Mondo, or Mundo, however you want to pronounce that. That's pretty cool. In this little pack, we actually pulled 3 Hellions. Gotta be careful, because sometimes they do these sculpts that are really beautiful, but you don't want to like break a wing or something, because they're like so dynamic. But we got it. Luckily, we exist in 3D, so we can move things in 3 dimensions. All right. Oh, and we pulled an ID card, Shadow Cats. It is a headmaster ID card or a faculty ID card, and it allows you to bring out Kitty Pryde or Sprite. That's great. I love that. Okay. So this time we pulled the ex-trainee. It's very similar to the ex-student, except it's portrayed by a female, which is great. Love to be inclusive here. And the ex-trainee actually is a little more offensive. It brings more power with the different attacks that it can do, versus the ex-student is more support. But it's the same type of ideal with its trait. Hellion, who we've already got, so we'll put Hellion over here. Sync, we've already seen Sync before. And then we have Icarus and Mondo and ex-trainee. Okay. Sync and Hellion. That's great, because Hellion is a Hellion, Icarus is a Hellion, and then Mondo is actually Generation X. I don't know why I thought he was a Hellion. It's just because of all the red. But the suit is different. Okay, so ex-trainee. So ex-student trait, you roll 5 -1 to your opponent's defense. But School for Gifted Youngsters. It's the same thing as the ex-student. What you do is you can pay 15 points, and then your opponent chooses the starting dial. And there's different starting dials for ex-trainee. So you can play her on click 1, 4, 7, or 10. And when you do that, click 1 is a little damage power that gives her range combat expert with a range of 6. You can choose sidestep close combat expert on dial number 4. Click number 4. On click number 7, you have charge and super strength, and on click 10, you have hypersonic speed. So I really love this ex-trainee. If you play her at 25 points, you got a 25 points hypersonic speed character. That's great. Or a range combat character, or a sidestep close combat expert, or a charge super strength. So it's the same thing with the other, with the ex-student, the ex-trainee. I love to play at least 4 of those. I'm sorry, put that over there. All right, Mondo. Real name unknown. That's funny. I always love real name unknown. Like no one took the time to learn his real name. Generation X trait, power, move him 5 squares, do an attack. And then he has a movement power, free. If Mondo occupies printed hindering terrain, you can place him into a square of printed hindering terrain within 5 squares. Ooh, that's great. So if he's in hindering terrain, he ignores hindering terrain for movement as a bonus, but then he can move within the hindering terrain. So he's like moving through the earth. And then he has a defense power for his first 3 clicks. He has toughness, but he has invulnerability, if he occupies hindering terrain. And then if he is adjacent to blocking terrain, he has impervious. So this character is great. I used Mondo before, and I would just heal him up whenever I would like put him with a healer, and people had a hard time knocking him out. It's a great piece on a Generation X team. And then we have Icarus, who's a rare, who's also a Hellion. If you get that attack roll and it's a 10 or more, damage dealt is penetrating. X student trait, if you roll a 5, opponent minuses 1 to their defense, and then just keep flying. He can use charge, and when Icarus uses it, he can use willpower, and it ignores characters for movement purposes. So Icarus doesn't normally ignore characters for movement purposes or have willpower, but when he uses charge, he does. So that's really good for him. He really needs that. So you can like keep having him do charge because that's what he wants to do. So that's what it says just want to keep flying. So you live up to that moniker. Great piece. Great little booster there. Okay, a few more here. Few more. New stuff. Old stuff. All right, we have a really dynamic piece here with Venus de Milo. So we're going to have to do the same thing that we did with, yeah, there we go. We have to do the same thing we did with Icarus. All right. So, la-di-da. Here we have Mercury, we have Sync, Moira McTaggart, Celeste Cuckoo, and Venus de Milo. Okay. Super rare, uncommon, and 3 commons. Okay. All right. All right. First is Celeste Cuckoo. Celeste Cuckoo is one of the 3 Cuckoo sisters. And I know it sounds crazy, they're cuckoo, but they are clones of Emma Frost. There were 5 of them, and they were the 5 Cuckoo sisters. 2 of them died in some horrific way, I don't remember. And then there were 3 left. There's Phoebe, there's Celeste, and then there's Mindy. And those are the 3, and they all are in this set, and they all wear different colors. They all have like powerful mind controlling abilities, but they're the most powerful when they're all together, united. So you can play all 3 of them if you want to. They're all 50 points, and they all have a little stop click at the end. So they can be easy to believe you can knock them out, but they can bring a little bit of force to you. And they all look exactly the same. They're triplets. I think sometimes they maybe change their hair a little differently so they can be told apart. But they work together, and you want to work them together. So X student trait, you roll a 5, -1 to a defense on an opponent. She has Perplex. It's called 3-in-1. But only if a friendly character named Mindy Cuckoo or Phoebe Cuckoo is within 3 squares, and only to target herself. So she can only use Perplex on herself, and only if Phoebe and Mindy are near her. Now, that's okay. It's not the best, but you're playing the 3 of them together. They're all teaming up, and you get to play them. They haven't made clicks for them before, so that's fun for people. Don't have much else to say about Celeste Cuckoo, unless we pulled all 3 of them. I don't think we did, though. Moira McTaggart. So Moira McTaggart, if you remember X-Men First Class in the movie, and you keep up with the comics, Moira is Xavier's boo. You know, Xavier really has a heart for Moira, and Moira definitely is more on the mutant side. And later you find out that she actually has mutant powers of her own, but you don't find that out in the movies. So she has the Headmaster trait, X-Men. So she's on an X-Men team. She can give them perplex, provide leadership, and add a student ID card without cost. She is a great support piece. People would play 2 Moiras normally on an X-Men team for those perplexes, for those leaderships. Excellent piece. And she has outwit on her last 2 clicks, sidestep willpower in her first 2 clicks. She can use the X-Men team ability to heal people. She's great. She's great. There's a lot of different ways to play Moira. Glad we pulled that. Sync. We've already had Sync. Oh, come on, guys. You're supposed to tell me. So I'll put Sync aside. Sync had his day. Sync had his day. So Mercury. Okay, Mercury is a member of the Hellions. She has the Hellions trait. If your attack roll is 10 or higher, damage is penetrating. And the X-Student trait, if you roll a 5, you can -1 to a defense on opposing character. She has plasticity, super senses, and shape change. I love it. That makes her the ultimate tie-up piece. She's 35 points, she ties up, and she's hard to hit. I love that. She has like a free-flowing form, it's supposed to be. She can reshape and reform herself. That is great. She's supposed to be like Mercury, you know, like the Mercury, like the mineral, or on the periodic table, Mercury, being able to move around. Pretty cool. Oh yeah, like the Terminator villain, like the T-1000. You know, she can reform and change her shape, and that's what is reflected on her super senses and shape change. But she becomes offensive on her last 2 clicks. So you either knock her out the first time or do it from a range, because if you get up close to her, she will mess you up. And next we have Venus de Milo, another member of the X-Statics. I finally remembered that one character I mentioned before. His name was Dupe. And he's like this little green person with like these weird powers, and he normally held the camera and was always filming the X-Statics. And she's a member of that X-Statics team. She has the headlines trait. She gets headline tokens when, she gets headline tokens whenever she hits a character, even if she's using telekinesis. So she can use telekinesis to make object attacks, and then she can get headline tokens that way. Now, she can carry 2 characters, always useful, and she can use telekinesis. And then as a free action, you can remove any number of headline tokens, and you can use telekinesis that many times. Ooh, that is good. So if she's attacking characters and she's getting headline tokens, and she has support, right? That's a yellow, that's yellow defense or damage power. Yeah, she has support in top dial. So she can use telekinesis as a free action, bring a character up to her, and then she can use support and heal them. So that's great. Really cool piece. 85 points, a little bit high. So she can deal damage, she can heal people, she can move people around. This is like the team leader of the X-Statics. I don't think she really is in the comics. I don't know. I haven't read it. But she's really brings a lot of different things to the table. So put her over there. And boom. Those were our pulls. We're doing great on super rare pulls, I'm telling you. Okay. So we're getting to the point where we're pulling a lot of things we already pulled, which really speeds up the process. Love that. But I love to go over figures. I'll go over in depth with figures with anybody who wants to, learn about them. But the good news is that we have pulled all of these figures except our super rare, which is Old Man Logan. Okay, so we pulled Rusty, we'll put him aside. We pulled Mercury, put her aside. We pulled Artie, put Artie aside. And we pulled the X-Trainee, which is good. X-Trainee is a generic, so we'll definitely probably keep that in the collection. But then we have Old Man Logan. And now, if you read the Old Man Logan comic, man, it was such a good read. Well, they decided to make Old Man Logan a part of the actual the continuity of Marvel. Like, it was supposed to be kind of like this Elseworld thing, or this what if thing, and not really, but it kind of was, because it was set in the future, and it was like a universe that it didn't really happen, but then it did. You know, the universe needed a Wolverine, and then when Wolverine died, which, you know, I'm sorry that spoiled anything, but Wolverine is alive again, the original Wolverine, Old Man Logan kind of came in to fill in the place of our regular Wolverine. And he did a good job. Like people, like he just had the same interactions with people. He was just a little bit older, moved around a little bit slower, but he still brought everything that the original Wolverine to the table. He even joined Kitty Pryde's X-Men team for a while too. So he definitely kept that old man Wolverine that we love. Now, Old Man Logan has a couple of traits. The first one is the longest road trip. Once per game, if a friendly character that can use this trait is KO'd but in an opponent's starting area, you take an extra turn after your next turn. That is hard to pull off. I pulled it off on one person before, and that was because they didn't know. They didn't know about the trait. They didn't ask me. So I ran Wolverine all the way over to another person's starting line, and then I let them knock out Old Man Logan, and then I had another turn after my other turn. So that is fun, but it's really hard to pull off, but you might be able to do it. Now, the other trait is broken healing factor. So he doesn't heal as well. And if you watch the movie Logan, you know, this Wolverine kind of reminds you of that. You know, I think Hugh Jackman did a wonderful job playing Wolverine in that. And this Wolverine, like, always kind of reminds me of that portrayal of Hugh Jackman, where he has regeneration, but when he uses it, he heals one less. So that is good. And then he has a damage power, mentor the young, because he's still very much a team player, so he's trying to mentor the young. So he has empower. Adjacent friendly characters of less points can use combat reflexes, and if they already can, you modify their defense +1 instead. So this is a team player, Old Man Logan. He's got the X-Men keyword, future keyword, and he just really wants to be on an X-Men team and help out the fellow X-Men. He relishes those days. He loves the time of being an X-Men. And he has charge and sidestep, and then he doesn't have any special movement powers after that. And his defense drops like from a 17 to like a 15. So he's not really like a guy that's like trying to put his guard up. He's just trying to attack you. And he knows that he's probably going to go down because he doesn't have that same like fight in him. But if he's going to go down, like he's going to go down taking a piece out of you. So really love that Old Man Logan. Really good fig. Okay. Just a couple more. Just a couple more, everybody. We're doing good. We're doing great. Let me pull these out. Oh, excellent. We pulled Leech. Leech is great. I'll go over why Leech is great in a minute. And we got Xavier, who got to push through here very carefully. I love that Xavier. He's like an old man, and he has like a blanket like over his legs, you know, like he's cold, little, but he's a really good piece still. Old man Xavier, which kind of is already old. Okay. I will win the war against the tape. And we got an ID card. All New Wolverine ID card. It allows you to bring out X-23 or All New Wolverine. So that works for any X-23. So that X-23 that we got in our Fantastic Four set, you can actually use this ID card for that. Boom, boom. Not bad. Okay. So, Celeste Cuckoo, we already pulled you. Would have been nice to get one of your sisters. Alas, that is not what happened. We have Husk. We have Leech, we have Cypher, and we have Professor X. Okay, so Husk. Generation X, you move up 5 squares, make a close attack. Great traits. 4 clicks, 40 points. And she has a defense power. As a free action, you can choose a standard defense power. Husk can use the chosen power until your next turn. So it's another pick a power thing. But if she's playing against where's our buddy? Here he is. Darwin. She will take unavoidable damage when she chooses that power. That's really all she brings to the table. Okay. Cypher. So Cypher has a trait called Douglock/Cypher. If Cypher's 35 points, he's KO'd when he hits, when his dial clicks past the red KO line. So on his first 2 clicks, he really doesn't do anything except sidestep, and he's got a little damage power. Everything comes down to language. So Cypher, his powers had to do with language, and he could speak any language. He could understand any language. Like he was like the Rosetta Stone of mutants. He could just learn every language, and he just knew all of them. So his damage power kind of reflects that. Adjacent friendly characters and friendly characters within 3 squares with the New Mutants keyword have protected outwit. Okay, so that's good. That means they can't be tricked. They can't be fooled. They can understand everything. That's kind of as much of a comparison as I can make with that. And then if you play him at 70 points, he's got a little stop click, and he deals a lot of damage with plasticity and poison. And he's got the New Mutants thing where he can heal while he's next to other New Mutants, but you can't attack that turn, which is good for Cypher because he can literally only do 0 damage and 0 attack. So that's great. Not one of my favorite figures, but at 35 points, I mean, I don't know. Giving people protected outwit is kind of cool. I just wish he did a little more than that. So I don't normally say figures aren't that good, but he's really not that good. But, you know, in a sealed format, you play him at 75 points, you get the whole like Douglock type of thing, then yeah, go for it. All right, now we have Leech. Excellent support piece. 30 points, 3 clicks, but Leech can use Lockdown. So whenever an opposing character will use an effect that allows it to choose standard powers to use, you may first choose a standard power. This turn, that character can't choose that standard power. So before your opponent even chooses a power, you can pick a power, and you can be like, all right, I think you're going to use hypersonic speed, so I'm going to choose hypersonic speed. Now your opponent can't pick hypersonic speed. That is one of the things Leech does. And then Leech has Outwit. And each time Leech uses it, if his target was within 4 squares, after resolutions, he can use Outwit again, targeting a different character that wasn't already targeted by his Outwit. And he can keep doing that. He can keep doing it again and again and again. Oh, I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. Excellent figure. Excellent figure. Okay. Thank you, Leech. You are good. I even put Cypher like over there. I'm sorry, Cypher. Not really. Okay. Professor X. Professor X is a rare. He's the headmaster. This is your leader of the X-Men, but he's not like the field leader. He's like the leader that stays behind the scenes. Now this Xavier, he doesn't deal any damage. He does 0 damage, but what he doesn't deal in damage, he makes up for in mind control, in his ability to move people around. So aside from the headmaster trait that he can use leadership and perplex, and he gets a student ID card for free, which we came with the student ID card, so perfect. He has a special movement power of mind control. So, mind control. When Professor X uses it as a range action, he targets all opposing characters within range, regardless of lines of fire. So you can be hiding behind the wall, you can be hiding behind blocking terrain, you can be in stealth, it doesn't matter. All hit targets can't make attacks during this action. So this is what his mind control is used for. He can't use the people to attack each other, but he can use them to move them around. See, when you mind control a figure, you can move them their full movement, or you can move them half of their movement and do an attack. So what you can do is you can mind control like as many characters as you can get within his range, and his range is 8. So you can get a lot of characters if you do it right. And you can move them around. You can reposition them. Make it like a repositioning nightmare. And then after you discombobulate your opponent's team, then you swoop in with your heavy hitters and just knock them out. He's really useful in that way. Now I know that's probably not how he meant for his power to be used, but sorry, Professor X, you don't get to choose here. We do. And he also has Incapacitate if you want to use something a little more offensive. But he's not an offensive piece. He's more of a support piece, but a useful one. So put him with the goods. I'll leave Leech there too because Leech is a fantastic piece. And there we go. And we are here with our last pack. Oh, for you Halo fans out there, or people who go to church. So here we have another chase, and it's an Age of Apocalypse Cyclops. We have figures that we've already pulled, except this Chamber. So we'll go over Chamber, and we'll go over Cyclops. This Cyclops is a great figure, but it is a ugly sculpt. Like, it is really bad. I don't know if we can get that face on camera at all. I know it's like maybe a little out of focus. I don't know. All right. That face is ugly. That is an ugly face. But you know, there's only so much you can do. But it's a good figure. The face is just hideous. I'm sorry if it's giving you scars, people. All right, we already pulled Artie. We already pulled Anoli. We already pulled Karma. So those will be easy to just kind of... and he's actually stepping off of his, like standing base, which I've never seen that, I don't think. So, but anyways. So we pulled these 3, and so we'll put these 3 aside. And we're just going to talk about Chamber and Cyclops. So Chamber, he's Generation X. You get move up 5 squares, make a close attack. But his other trait is what really makes him good. He can use poison, and when he uses it, he deals penetrating damage to opposing characters of less points. Now the only problem is he's only 70 points. So he's not dealing penetrating damage to a lot of people. But there is a student ID card for him, so you can bring him in, do some poison damage, and then he can do a range attack maybe. You know, if the person is, you know, if you knock out a character with his poison, then he can shoot a range attack. He has Force Blast, Penetrating Psychic Blast, Enhancement, so he can boost up some people. Not bad. But I want to get into Cyclops, because I have not pulled him before. He's supposed to have like the yellow like laser eye beam, but I believe this Cyclops lost one of his eyes, so he only is like shooting laser out of like one eye. He's using that like optic blast out of one eye. So he has like an eye patch like type of thing where he pushes it and then he shoots the laser. Now, survivor of the Age of Apocalypse for now. When he's damaged, the opposing character gets a revenge token. When Cyclops attacks the character with one or more tokens named revenge, you modify his attack and damage +1. So if he does get hurt, or if someone else gets hurt, like if he's with Dark Beast, they'd make a good team, because if Dark Beast takes damage, the opposing character still gets that revenge token. And then Cyclops can come in with, instead of an 11 attack 4 damage, a 12 attack 5 damage with an 8 range and a running shot. Very good. He has a special attack power, but it doesn't come in until his last 4 clicks. Now he's got 6 clicks for 100 points or 4 clicks for 60 points. So you got a little point heavy for my cost, but let's see what the damage power does. The damage power is leadership and enhancement. You're paying for range with this Cyclops. You're paying for the starting attack and damage values. And that 8 range does not come common. He can make range attacks from up close, so he can be adjacent and still do range attacks. That's really useful. So you can run up and do a range attack. But what makes him really good is his knockback, which unfortunately he doesn't get unless you put him on his sidestep clicks. So you got to be tactical. You got to be smart with this Cyclops. Otherwise, you will give your opponent a lot of points. But he also has the Horseman of Apocalypse keyword, which we know that Apocalypse has 4 horsemen. So apparently Cyclops was one of those 4. I didn't know that. He has like the long Fabio hair. He's almost like Tony. He's not like, Tony is a lot more better looking than this figure here. But he's got the long hair, strong guy. But unfortunately, I feel like they messed up his dial when it came to giving him his powers. That's just a criticism, WizKids. I'm not trying to insult you. I know that you've made newer figures that are a little bit better, but I would have liked to see like a traded Force Blast with this figure, because that's what Cyclops does. He knocks characters back, and I would have loved to see that with his running shot. But alas, still a cool chase. So everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. We pulled some really awesome stuff, rares, super rares, and chases. Oh my! And we're really looking forward to doing something with this stuff. We pull this stuff and we show it off to you, and we talk about selling it. But what we'd really like to do is, if we get some more subscribers and some more viewers, we want to do giveaways. We want to be able to give you some of this stuff. If some of you live overseas, we want to figure out a cost-effective way to send you some of these figures and maybe some maps, and you can be able to use some of these things and get into the game yourself. We would love to see that. So if you're interested in anything like that, please tell your friends so we can get some subscribers and we can get that goal, so we can try to make those things more doable and make these things more affordable. Because if we're able to generate any sort of income through just showing you these videos, we can in turn turn that into an ability to do giveaways, so it doesn't cost us extra funds to be able to do that. But other than that, I'm glad you tuned in, and I enjoy doing this, and we're really looking forward to doing another set very shortly, which we're going to talk about in just a second.